hopefully we will get our hands dirty today. I have asked if I can take the wheel and hijack the session, working on triage ops. I would say for a change, but that's quite frequent these days. So one of my team's key objectives for this quarter is to start making the community forks more of an official thing. So that means updating documentation, but also kind of automation and communicating internally and externally and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there was a weird roundabout reason and way that I actually came about this, but this is where I ended up and sort of saying, like, where can we start to kind of drop the message, drop the hint, and even better, can we be? So this overlaps with two OKRs. One of them is to formalize the community forks, publicize, formalize them. The other one is to improve documentation and like contributor journey / experience through that. And one of our kind of key ideas is to tailor and personalize the welcome message. So by welcome message, I guess I mean the thank you message. Okay. At the moment, I'm sure you know, Marco, you push up enough merge requests that it's a fairly static message. Yeah. It does differ slightly from project to project. So we've got one for Runner, one for the www project, and one for the FOSS project, and then a generic one for everything else.
For the FOSS project, do we even accept merge requests?
That's probably the content of the message, Mark. Okay. GitLab FOSS. Is thank you, GitLab has moved, here's the new place, close this merge request, basically. So yeah.
I wonder, did they disable the merge request feature on that project?
So I think we've even had this conversation ourselves previously. If we do that, we lose the 404s if you try and access a legacy merge request. So yeah, unfortunately, it's a bit of a pain. Yeah. So anyway, fortunately, I think I've done some of the heavy lifting. I started playing with this yesterday, and I don't know if you recall the way it used to work. But essentially, you can see that these are still constants, but these were all constants as well. And essentially it meant there was no kind of dynamicness to them. What we were doing is kind of reading them in. Let's try and find one here like that, and then using like the Ruby string formatting commands to then kind of replace variables. I hope that somebody's not going to turn around and say this is terrible, but I'm starting to rework it. So I've converted these from being constants to being methods. And the idea is that, you know, we start with, so I was thinking about passing in, you know, like event or from community fork or something along those lines. But ended up deciding that we should make this like a class rather than a module and pass in the event in the constructor. And then we've got access to all of that to be able to do things like, you know, vary the message depending on X, Y, and Z. I'm hoping you might be able to kind of help me take this holistic step back and start to make a few similar-ish decisions. Part of me wonders whether there's even any point in having these as two separate classes, or if we do, maybe I should keep this for just static strings, and because that's what this is called at the end of the day, and then all the dynamic stuff then lives in this instead.
Okay, so
sorry, I've done a lot of talking, so let's hear your views.
yeah, my first question would have been why there are two different files, but it makes sense to keep all this static stuff somewhere. For example, the constant that you can include in different parts of the project, and then have a module or class only to do the message posting, basically.
I mean, my view on it is maybe a little bit different. I guess I don't know the history. I guess once a class gets too big, you split it up, right? Maybe that's ultimately what the answer is. But
Yeah.
I think it's like, personally, I possibly wouldn't have split this up unless these were reusable and
Okay.
used from multiple different classes.
Yeah.
As it currently stands, they're only used from the thank you processor and the thank you spec.
Okay.
But I'm happy if you like the idea. Like, maybe what I've started to do here is wrong. Like, I don't know which one. Like this, for example, maybe what I need to do is make this a string in this file, this as constant string in this file, and then put this kind of method with this logic into here.
Yeah, I mean, the actual class object that's posting messages is the thank contribution class, right?
Yep.
Okay. So unless those methods can actually be reused somewhere else, for example, if we do have uh, constants and methods to basically build the final message,
Yep.
those methods and constant could be reused somewhere else. That would make sense to have a class only to basically build those messages. But if
Yep.
it's only one place, why not keeping it all together? It would be kind of easier also to maintain, maybe. I don't know.
Yep. So do you think we should keep like these constants in this file, class, method, module, whatever you want to call it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how I might even end up taking another clone of this repo, or dumping what I've done to like stashing it in some way, shape, or form, because I think I did go down. I don't know if it's a rabbit hole, but like these constants were in. Although again, these are good reusable ones, so maybe now we should take the opportunity to move these out.
Weren't they already constants from another module?
They were from constants from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, those constants could definitely be reused somewhere else.
Yeah.
And if you search for, yeah, exactly. Hmm.
Yeah. So actually, I guess we could reference these probably from here, maybe as well.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about, but it looks like you can do consts within consts sort of thing. There's no big issue around that. Again, though, I suppose it's iteration and bite size and not trying to. So maybe I shouldn't move these in the first one, but consider it as a follow up. So yeah, I kind of want to get back to. So I might take a new clone of this repo because I kind of want to leave this open where I got to, or should I push it up?
Can you use a temporary branch or something?
It's the having to keep flicking.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, I suppose I could. Maybe the best way would be to push it up as an MR
and look at this code from the UI, web UI.
Yeah, Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, running the project another time is kind of a
yeah. It seems a bit overkill, right? So what we're gonna say, keep it simple. Add
someone is watching us. Hi everyone.
Oh, are you on the Twitch stream? Can you tell? Can you tell from here somewhere?
There's a little eye on the top left corner of the UI.
Oh yeah, nice, cool. Right, mention. I'll do it right now. Sorry, I know you can only see one screen window.
But I can open the 3A Jobs project.
I will share the link in a minute as well. So maybe before our next session, I'll make an effort to try and get OBS set up. I was talking about it with someone a couple of days ago, and they said it's really easy to like share a couple of windows.
Yeah, the hard part with OBS and Mac OS is the audio.
The what? Sorry.
The audio.
Okay.
When I tried to set up OBS to do these pairing sessions, I had to do some tweaking for
So what I would probably do is I'd probably still share my webcam and audio the normal way, and I would share my screen essentially through OBS only. So I think you can select OBS as a source. It'll create like a virtual camera or desktop or stream or whatever you want to call it. But
okay.
So, so I've got the MR. I will share it. I don't know how this works. Chat. There we go. And then I can check out. Don't know how this works. Did it get reset? Something like that, or no, it's not, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
How to get back of one commit?
Yeah.
Yeah, reset. Had
so
one.
That's good. Cool. But then I've got all those changes, so I now want to get rid of.
How do I hide that now? Okay.
It's in the chat on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is back to how it was, which is really, I say, interesting. I don't know if that's the right term, but I think I'm massively responsible for this. I'll take full ownership. Somewhere it'll probably say, yeah, it was me that. 10 minutes ago. Really? $19 months ago, that's better. So before I really knew much about Ruby, I guess, and that like these are essentially consts and should be uppercase really, and that this is a module, not a class, and all of that. But hey ho.
Now that I think about it, sorry for undoing all your work.
What's that? Sorry?
Now that I think about it, sorry for undoing all your work, basically.
How do you mean?
You basically went back to start from scratch.
Oh, yeah. What just now with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's totally cool. It's part of the journey, you know. Like I started trying to figure out if I wanted to make something dynamic in here. At the moment, in here, you know, what was the way to do it? And, you know, it's like, well, this is a module. Okay, it should be a class really with methods, and the methods can take arguments, or we could have an initializer, a constructor, and then have a sort of class. What do you call it? An instance variable or method or whatever you want to call it. And I went down that journey and then rewound back to the conversation with you, and it's like, well, actually, what's the purpose of this? Okay, the purpose of this is just to have static strings. So let's consider, for example, removing this from here, and making this something that's handled in here, and it's got access to the event, and it's got access to the author username, so we don't have to do quite so much kind of I don't know what you want to call it, like this kind of horrible string formatting, or at least I'm not a big fan of it. I'll let you sort of say if you prefer to keep it that way or whatever. But so yeah, the immediate challenge. So I think these should become like static strings, like consts, I guess.
There's one thing that I am missing. Maybe you said that you want to make this more tailored around the contributor.
Yes.
In what sense? I mean,
so if you've never raised a merge request before,
no, I didn't.
Huh?
I didn't. I never opened that merge.
Yeah, if you've never raised a merge request before, it would maybe go super easy on you and just sort of say, thanks, for opening your first merge request. Like, when you're ready for someone to look at it, use this command, or if you need any help, use this command, or keep it as simple as possible.
Okay.
After you've done a couple of merge requests, so yeah, first merge request or early, when you're not using the community fork, it will say, are you aware of the community fork? When you're sort of 5-10 in, it's probably not going to tell you about, here's the contributor guidelines, and here's the, so yeah, it's going to take into consideration how long have you been doing this for? How familiar are you with how the process works, and what are you and aren't you doing? So if there's anything like, I don't know whether we would, but maybe we'll start looking at the actual MR description at some point, and be sort of saying, like, it looks like you haven't filled this section out or filled that, those sorts of. So I guess not all of that will be in the thank you message at the end of the day, and DangerBot already does. So I guess we don't want to overlap too much with what DangerBot's doing. But some good examples are just like, okay, you're a new contributor. We don't want this wall of text that you're probably going to ignore.
Yeah.
Is there one key message or two key messages that we can be like, really appreciate your helping. Don't feel stupid asking questions, like, we're here for you. We want you to contribute. Here's the best place to go, or something like that. So what I'm starting by doing, and again, jump in at any time, is because these are consts, they should be. I learned a new term yesterday. Do you know what case this is?
Snake case.
More impressive than that, it's screaming snake case.
Oh.
Yeah, I found that really amusing.
Snakes don't scream.
Oh, wow, they do now, I guess. So yeah, and again, like, someone's probably shouting somewhere saying, no, you're completely wrong, and this isn't how it should be done. But yeah, from my understanding, const, it should be screaming snake case. So I'll start by fixing those that I incorrectly. You probably know a keyboard shortcut for this as well.
It surprises me that they didn't introduce a cop to make sure that constants are named in screaming snake case.
Absolutely. Although I don't know how many cops, like, maybe it'd be something that would get picked up. on the GitLab project, but maybe not on triage ops.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Right. So yeah, that's first things first, changing those that were consts but not accurately described as consts into consts. So yeah, we've then got these that then are kind of a culmination of that should actually have had a space in it. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to have broken some stuff, so I guess I should fix that as I go.
You know that there's a toUpper method on VS Code.
I mentioned that a minute ago. Do you know the keyboard shortcut?
Oh no, sorry, I wasn't replying on Discord. I totally missed that.
No, not at all, not at all. Yeah, we all multitask. Should we try and find it then?
Command K, Command U.
Oh, okay, U.
Oh, you have to customize your keyboard shortcuts.
Because it hasn't got one, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, one existing command. I don't know what's set to it, but I don't care. My fingers don't quite stretch that far.
That worked. Oh, so you okay?
Why is it not working for this one? Right. So what I should do is run my tests to see if I've already broken anything. Yes, I have. Impressive. So
well, that might be this space.
Yes, I'll go with that. Let's see what it was. Yeah, FOSS project. So this is where I'm going to have to dub them in diff just to.
Yeah. I mean, what was the message that you added a new line?
That was so FOSS body.
Yeah.
Oh,
the labels and the comments.
But I'm confused. Sign off thanks was there before. So this ends with a / close. Oh, okay. So it does. So actually, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So there's no text. So actually, they don't need a. None of them really need that extra space at the end. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah. Well, to keep it consistent.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree. Right. Beautiful. So we fixed some violations, perhaps. First step. So now let's just see what kind of. So the other thing that I did in the MR that I just created, it's a little bit unrelated, but it's kind of related. You tell me. The way that we currently evaluate and determine which which one to process, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got applicable. You know how the processes normally work. We just have some conditions in applicable.
Yeah.
Well, here we've kind of got this complexity around. Oh well, you know, the conditions are impacted by the project. So it's a little bit wishy-washy. Now, my MR, which you've hopefully got open, what I did, thank you, contribution, and I'm keen to hear what you think about this, is changed this to this. So, you know, let's just make it a sort of, oh, no, there's one more in there, sorry. There's a specific, specific project, so I don't want to lose that. But let's just make it very clear that this will always fire if it's a community author, it's from GitLab.org or GitLab.com.
Yeah.
And it's not one of the excluded project paths or namespaces or whatever you want to call it. So that simplifies that bit a little bit.
Definitely.
But then there's a little bit more work to be done here. So at the moment, well, actually, or is there? Let's get rid of that.
You only have to choose the message based on the source project.
Yeah, I think that does make it a lot. Let's see if we've broken it again.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so at the moment we're digging based on the project ID. That should be enough, and then falling back to this. So the problem is so yes, so it's all to do with the test setup.
Yeah.
So we need to mock, or not mock, allow. Oops. Making a old hash of my keyboard right now. That to that. That should still break, I think, because I then need to define that as a. So I guess we'll default that to false. Almost there. So where's this one? So here I no longer need to do this. I need to do a let. Actually, I don't. I don't even need to do that anymore, do I? Awesome. Yeah. So we've actually kind of improved a little bit. Yeah, awesome. Cool. I'm still pretty happy so far.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I feel like we've simplified. It's probably going to be horrible, but so we've, you know, from.
So the is from www GitLab, whatever it was. It was already inside the event class.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe they added that after and then didn't move on to refactor the code because it's much easier to read like this.
Yeah, well, it's already pulling it from the event class, but it was just the whole lambda-y crazy whatever. But yeah, no, I'm glad. So we started by simplifying things, fixing things, tidying things up. Part of me wonders whether I should even push this MR as it is. Maybe I'll do a commit now. Be like, this is
only the simplification.
Yes, exactly. I think.
Oh, you just overridden your previous commit?
Yep. But it's fine. Obviously, we can still see it in the UI.
Oh, right, because you have the previous version.
Yeah. You can still, in the changes tab, the diffs tab, you can still see the
True.
any version, and I'm not going to hit refresh yet anyway. So if I want to refer back, but in all honesty, I think we've already done like a lot of what I've done in my, and even better. The next step is then starting to figure out, okay, what are the dynamic bits? Let's say, what are the bits that are already dynamic?
Okay.
The string interpolation, let's call it, and do we want to keep that as is, or do we want to, as part of this, refactor, improve, change, whatever? So yeah, what do you think? So we take this, and it's just the author username, I think, at the moment. So what are we actually doing? We're using it to say hello, and we use it to assign, although I think no. I was going to say, aren't they already assigned by this point? But no, I think this is the way that we assign the author to the MR.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's used in those two places. So yeah, what do you think? Should we use this kind of string formatting interpolation type thing to do this, or should we change the way we do this?
I mean, it depends on A, what's the alternative, and B, how do we want to, when do we want to format the message? For example, if you want to have all the single bits and have placeholder, and we compose the complete message and then format the message, or do we format the single bits and then compose the complete message?
Okay, so maybe feel free if say this is wrong, but maybe a better approach, maybe what I'm getting from that is that let's look at something that we actually need to do. We want to dynamically mention. Sorry if I resize that, it breaks, doesn't it? That we want to dynamically mention the community forks, and I personally was going to get rid of the danger bit because
If you want to move to the community forks, danger is already set up.
Yeah, and the danger bit we can't make dynamic. It's really annoying. I wanted to do that in the past, but we don't know, and we can't, from here, we can't actually figure out whether the user has an API token set up. That's just a bit too sort of outside the scope. So yeah, I was personally going to remove this bit. So should I go ahead and start by?
Well, yeah, that makes sense if we are moving to the community forks.
And then conditionally mention here about using the community fork. So the only thing is, this is the default message. So realistically, actually, we probably don't want it to be here. We probably want it to be in the intro potentially, because that's included in the runner, the GitLab.com, like all of them essentially, except the FOSS one. So I think I've just answered my own question there, but feel free to disagree.
No, I don't disagree, but I think we should, even the default message, should we really keep it as a constant? Because
well, that's the question I think we're asking, and I think we're answering.
yeah,
if we want to make this bit more dynamic, which is what we're exactly saying now, we want to include something about the forks in here, then this needs to not be a constant, which then I think means this can't be a constant, or this, or this, or this. So all of a sudden, then we might be starting back down where I had gone, which is actually, well, what of this is a constant anymore, and what isn't. So
Can't we just declare inside here some class methods to format the message? So we have all the logic to build up the messages in here, and the thank you contribution class only uses these messages.
I'm sure we could. I'm sure we could. So let me just understand what that. So maybe making all of these become class methods instead, or one method, or it's the project ID, or although
Yeah.
just reminding you, and the thing that although I don't think this matters at the moment, this is a module. I think we can just switch it to a class, and there's no big deal. But
Oh, because in module we can't have class methods, and that makes sense because we are on a module, not on a class. So,
but depending on how we want them to work. So the route that I went down before, I changed this to a class. I created a constructor, so it had an instance variable which had contained the event, and then we could use the event to do all this like decision making, if you know what I mean.
yes.
Now,
So basically having this as a class and then call, for example, a method that's format message, and we
yeah,
basically,
the challenge is this in itself, and I think that was maybe slightly wrong route to go down, because from talking to you at the beginning of this session and suddenly saying, oh, hang on a minute, this module is strings. All it should really contain is some sort of constant strings. So I think we possibly are at a point where actually maybe it's these that need to come out.
yeah.
And these are no longer constants. These are now, I don't know, methods or something in here. But these maybe all remain constants in here.
Yeah, and I think that if we do that, we could make them.
We've got access to the event, and we can, the class methods, etc.
Yes, and if we to save us from writing specs, we could make those methods as private. So we just have to make sure the message is formatted correctly.
Yeah, although saying that, I think that they wouldn't be hit by undercoverage, because they would be covered by the methods that we're testing that are actually calling them under the hood anyway. So I don't think that we'd need to do that anyway. So I've pasted this in here. So question, do we make each of these a separate method, or do we do something?
I think we could have a separate method for each.
So this isn't going to work anymore. So this needs to also become a method, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, what I would do is having a method for each project and then one global method that based on the project ID.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess we'll keep project thanks. And then we'll find a way to encapsulate this logic. Now, I just did simple ifs.
Yeah.
Do you like simple ifs, or do you think we try and make it a nice, sexy array and do some clever digging? And
why do we want to over-engineer stuff?
Thank you. That's all I needed. So we'll just say something like thanks if Is it triple equals in Ruby?
Don't think so. They only needed triple equals on JavaScript because they couldn't decide on what to do.
Thanks. Realize we're still going to have to do some refactoring, but we're getting there. And then we need the default. Beautiful. So I'm not going to try and run the spec because I realize that's gonna crash and burn fairly spectacularly at the moment.
Yep.
So this can just change to project thanks. Extra conditions we don't even need anymore. Getting so much more readable, honestly. I think this is one of those things that really suffered from evolving.
Yeah.
So refactor these into methods now?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So now I'm going to do another key binding. Case. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to actually do it. Oh, where's it on top? So Command Shift. Oh. How come 3 commands have this key binding already?
And when you use that key binding, the pop-up will come out and let you choose which one you want.
Oh no, that's not working, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to come up with a different one. That sucks. Oh, is it because do I have to say
insert editor focus?
I guess I have to come up with something else. Oh no. Is there really nothing that... My God.
Too many commands.
Yeah, tell me about it. Everything is used. Can I go really crazy? Command Shift and Option.
I guess you can.
Yeah, that's not you. Oh, so I must have to. Maybe I can do what I originally wanted to do, but yeah, I just had to hit enter. I think. Let's just see if that works. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
They have to improve the documentation.
It's that whole thing that we were looking at a while ago, you know, modals and should clicking outside of them like dismiss them or...
A while ago, it was almost, well, no, not almost 1 year, but
no way.
No, it was. I actually got pinged on that MR not too long ago because it was stale.
I think, yeah, you got pinged on another one today, maybe, that you started for me that I need to jump on as well. Achievements is taken like that's kind of slightly higher up in the list, if that makes sense, in the commit emails thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sitting through this, by the way. I realise it's not the most exciting of.
No worries.
Oh no! Wait a minute! I've gone too far. These are no longer in here, right? So I now need to prefix these with. It'd be like, so they're still in triage strings.
Thanks.
Run the test again now because I felt, wow, I expected explosions, but I was like, I think we've shuffled it all around so that it should still work.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so again, we're in a nice state. We haven't changed the behavior, so I'm actually going to amend previous commit. I'm not going to bother pushing it at this moment in time. Right, so first dynamic feature then, yeah, which was going to be the forky thing, yeah. So that's where we have another question arising. So the fork is relevant for all of the ones that do intro thanks. So we could put the conditional logic in each one, or we could bring intro thanks out of here.
Is it really only relevant to that? Aren't we moving everything over to the community forks?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's relevant to everything except this.
Okay.
So my thinking was to squirt it into intro thanks, because intro thanks is already included, but I could do like I don't know exactly what it looked like, but something like strings. Thanks community forks, and then it'd be if, and then dot community or unless, I don't know whether you prefer to use not or. Problem is that's going to introduce the spaces.
Exactly.
So we need to then do the spaces inside the message themselves, I think, to it's a bit messy. So yeah, that's why maybe it would be nicer to include it in the intro thanks, but then that can't be a constant anymore.
Well, we can create an intro thanks method that uses the constant and adds the.
Yeah, I like your style. Yes, so that becomes intro thanks. Intro thanks. Intro thanks. This then becomes and yes, we do something like unless no if from this method I've lost, haven't I? I need to re-add this back in now. It's no biggie, no drama, but I would have lost it when I got rid of all of my changes. So line 391-ish. Source branch. So yeah, before source branch. In there. And then 448-ish. So then here we would have. Oh yeah, I'm liking this more already. Yeah. So this time, I guess I'll then do. Any point.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. So thanks. Intro. Thanks. A message somewhere. Appreciate feedback on my message as well. I don't want to waffle about minutes and danger and like without bullet pointing all the reasons to do it. So I'll definitely, obviously, include you and Nicholas and my team and everyone on the MR anyway for feedback. But as a first idea, does that sound?
Yeah, I would remove the dot and maybe change the dash for a comma. Working from there will make your life easier.
Awesome. So now we are expecting some failures.
Yeah.
Awesome. This default message. Well, I'm conscious. I feel like we're at about time, although I think the session's probably been running for a little bit shy because we had a bit of a chat at the beginning. But I'm sure you want some lunch as well, and you've massively helped me to overcome the kind of architectural challenges. So probably for me to now go and fix the test. That seems like a nice first iteration, right? We've refactored and improved the architecture, and we've added the first reactive, responsive, whatever you want to call it, kind of conditional piece to the message.
Yeah, and it's much easier to read the code now.
Awesome. Love it. Wicked. Well, thanks so much. And maybe if later in the week you want to, you've got something that you're working on and you want us to do another little session, let me know.
Yeah. I think that's gone down on your priority list, but I had that IMAR for the
global time tracking.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'd love to look at that. Yeah.
Okay, because I have that one that I'm kind of waiting on feedback, and we could actually have a little discussion on what to do as a first step, because I think it's in a good position as a first step, and then iterate over, because there's quite a few things to do.
Is it behind a feature flag at the moment?
No, but I'll put it behind a feature flag.
I'm in two minds. So the reason I think I probably would almost push to not put it behind a feature flag would be, well, it's a brand new endpoint, and it's not going to break anything. But on the flip side, people using it, if like the SQL queries that it's executing are quite intensive, it could break things. And if I know there's that whole thing about breaking changes, I think if it's not behind a feature flag and we remove any functionality, then we've got issues. Whereas I think if it's behind a feature flag, we're a bit more at liberty to change it around as we see fit.
Exactly. That's basically, there are a few things that are likely to change, and if we put it behind the feature flag, we don't have to worry about releasing one thing this month and one thing on the other.
Awesome.
So yeah, cool. I am pretty sure I will be putting it behind the feature flag.
So one last question. I guess that feature flag will have to be scoped to the user, right?
I think so.
because we don't have any other context, really, do we? When you hit that URL,
Yeah.
We're not in a namespace. We're not in a awesome, wicked.
Yeah.
No. I'd love to have a chat about that later in the week.
Okay. Yeah,
wicked.
sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks,
Awesome.
Marco. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.